back from recess, and we do have a motion on the table to...
I wish I could. I don't have it.
What do you need? Do you need?
The motion made that?
Wow.
Let's see what I can do.
Yeah, sign it up.
It's magic.
Make a motion to accept the plan dated 1/3/19 to give access from Carlton after designing and acceptance of a road by the highway department with the 150-foot frontage off of 102. Correct. And then Mr. Igliozzi is designing and approval of site approval and construction. And then the chair seconded to discussion.
So I need to amend that motion so that the road on Carlton to be designed will stay at the present width of Carlton Ave, but it needs approval from the DPW. And accepted, plans accepted by the DPW. And constructed by Mr. Russo.
If I may, Chair, Mr. Igliozzi, just for my edification and clarification, yes, it's all residential, even though this plan that is dated 1/3 shows a proposed zone line, a zone change in that portion of Lot 102. So if it was clear that it is to remain all residential, I think it would allay my fears of something getting lost in the shuffle.
And Mr. Vice President, I think that's accurate, but I guess I'm really trying to zero the council in that for the purpose of this motion, you're just voting on the proposed connection to Carlton on this plan. That's all you're voting on. There's no motion.
This is not before us right now. We're looking at a plan that was
Right, I just
subdivided by the, and approved by the planning board with no zone change on it.
Right,
And now we're giving access on Carlton Avenue.
Thank you, thank you.
That's the first vote.
So there's a motion and a second. Is there any other discussion? Roll call vote.
Mrs. Bottomoli?
Yes.
Mrs. O'Hara? Yes. Mr. Oshie?
Yes.
Mr. Zelinski?
No.
Mr. Gagnon?
Yes.
So, Mr. President, so in clarification, there are two things remaining before the council now. The public hearing on the proposed zone change ordinance from RS to BH. And also, this is still the first reading of that ordinance. So there's a public hearing that's open on an ordinance that takes two readings, and this is still the first reading. So the council could decide to close the public hearing or leave it open. I would suggest you leave it open until the second reading, just in case something happens between now and the next meeting. Otherwise, you can vote at the next meeting up and down as presented on the testimony provided.
If I could just ask for my own clarification, if the public hearing remains open, nothing changes, will the council still be in a position to vote on this at the next meeting?
Yes, the second reading is when they can vote on the article.
And will we come back if there's any further modifications, if we take Mr. Zwolinski's suggestions, or come back, the public hearing will still be open?
That's why I want to leave it open,
Yes.
so you don't have to re-advertise, the public is aware of it. My proposal would be to continue the public hearing to a date certain to the next meeting. We have to know that date. And two, continue the ordinance to the second reading on that day. And then you have it all in front of you. And you still have all your options.
Not that it's for me to concur, but I do concur with what you're suggesting.
If the council has their options.
Mrs. Zelinski.
Mr. Dodd, you mentioned my suggestions, in particular, what suggestions were you?
Well, you had before asked about whether we would consider Plan B to go back. Right now, that's nothing my client's
Right,
interested
yeah,
in.
that's what was confusing me, because you've already got approval, somewhat approval for that, so
Yeah.
my suggestions are moved at this point.
I
Okay,
understand.
thank you.
So I think I would ask that the council, if they want to take a vote tonight, they're asking I would continue the public hearing to a date certain, whatever that next date is, provided it meets with Mr. and Ms. Klein's timetable. So we have to have a date certain for you and the public.
That's to consider the zone change.
Correct.
Business highway.
Right. So we don't know what that is.
No, because there's a question about moving the 22nd to the 28th. I don't have a consensus on what.
I will be here on the 28th. There's a scheduling conflict on the 2nd. So we're looking to move it to the following Monday on the 28th. So that we know.
January.
So that I'm looking for a motion now to continue
The public hearing.
public hearing on the zone change on Plat 4, Lot 144
So moved.
to
January
January
28th,
28th.
2019.
I second.
Motion and a second. Any other discussion? Hearing none. Those in favor? Opposed?
And then the motion, another motion to be made to change, continue the ordinance for a second reading to that same day. The actual proposed zone change ordinance for a second reading on that day, which is required by the charter.
Is there a motion?
So
Just a second reading.
There's a motion by Mr. Zelinski. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Mrs. Bonjour. Any other discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor? Opposed?
Thank you all for your consideration.
My wife Maria. You never met her? You never met her? You don't come down.
So which go for Smithfield?
I got it. Yeah, see my head. You know, and then go like a man.
It's still a zone. It's still.
Now you are.
Now he has.
Down by the door.
This is what you can do in your free time.
Next item, discussion by council vote or other action on update from municipal building review task force. They continue to do as best as abatement. The second floor building completed.
Choose not to say, Gary, choose not to listen. You're recording, we got it right? This is on.
See you later, guys. Wish I could stay.
They continue to do as best as abatement. They've got the second floor done. The first floor now. Do a meeting with Carlton and Sakosha this week. So things are moving along quite well, I think. Next item, discussion by council vote or other action on resolution requesting General Assembly legislation to enact approved charter amendments. We do have a whole packet of information here that was prepared by the town clerk and the solicitor, I'm assuming, in regards to requesting the General Assembly provide legislation necessary to enact charter amendments that were approved by the town voters on November 6th of 2018. And I entertain a motion that we approve the resolution and send it to the General Assembly. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Motion by Mrs. Bonioli, is there a second?
Second.
Second by Mrs. O'Hara and Mrs. Walensky. Any discussion? Discussion? Roll call vote.
Mrs. Bottomoli?
Yes.
Mrs. O'Hara? Mrs. Oshia? Mr. Zalinski?
Yes.
Mr. Vadeney?
Yes. You just need to sign it over. Next item, discussion by council vote or other action on engagement letter with the town solicitor. You do have an updated engagement agreement with the town solicitor. Is there a motion to approve and authorize who would sign this, David? The council or the administrator?
Administrator.
You can authorize the administrator to sign. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Motion by Mrs. Walensky, is there a second? Second by Mrs. O'Hara. Any other discussion? Hearing none, all those in, roll call vote.
Mrs. Bottomoli?
Yes.
Mrs. O'Hara? Yes. Mr. Oshia?
Yes.
Mr. Zalinski?
Yes.
Mr. Vadeney?
Yes. Next item, discussion by council vote or other action on change orders and payment requisition in regards to the Parkview Drive Ave sewer project.
Mr. President, you have before you our request for approval of 3 items. The first is change order number 3 in the amount of total addition to the contract of $35,248.63 for the items enumerated in the document that you've been presented. The significant piece of this is the most significant piece of this is the need to have to relocate the water line in Parkview Drive that was not apparent to anyone in the process until the bucket of the machine was on the line. The change order, like the other change order in the group, and the requisition has been reviewed by the sewer superintendent, by the sewer commission, by the engineer who's here present if there are any questions, and I also believe the change order is accurate and appropriate to approve.
So, Gary, when I worked my way through this, there was a $3,530 credit because of the time saved, right? Is that correct?
There were, well, yes, there's
Should
3
have been
items.
38 something, it's not 35.
Yes.
Okay.
There are, all these numbers have been worked and reworked several times by all of the parties involved. I must say, with an appreciated level of cooperation from the contractor. I've been impressed with the way that they have met with the surprises, disappointments, issues that come along. There are times in contracting where you feel like while we may not be happy with any one of these numbers, I am confident that our engineer and contractor and our own personnel have done their best to make them as fair as possible for the end users, both going up and coming down, as pointed out by Councilman Zelinski, the credit for some of the cost reductions.
So, which is going to be operational complete? Do we have a time frame? Just curiosity, if we don't run into inclement weather, or rock.
Question again, sorry?
When do we feel this is going to be complete?
The work on the main contract is now substantially complete. What we're awaiting is approval from DEM on a wetlands application for actually the subdivision on Edward Avenue before going ahead with the option to extend the sewer into that subdivision. We have stopped that work because the circumstance could result in a condition if DEM did not approve the wetland permit. We could have a sewer line laid into one lot that would always be one lot. I stopped in cooperation with everyone else, just said, no, we're not going any further until we get that approval. The developer is committed that as soon as the approval comes through, he will be filing the plat, the subdivision, and moving forward. So it's all headed in the right direction, but it took a resubmission to DEM that put us into the cold weather. I've tried to pursue what I could with DEM this past Friday, and hope to hear soon that the wetland permit is approved for the subdivision that will allow us to be able to authorize the contractor to go forward with the alternate that was that extension and complete the project. That could happen this winter. It depends on frost depth. All of that work is off the roadway and into the woods. So it's possible that it could happen in cold weather without being an obstruction to the neighborhood or making things impossible for the contractor.
How many homes or residences actually now will be tied into this sewer?
I always get confused with the final number. I think the total without the subdivision is 27, and with the subdivision will be 32.
That's what, okay, for some reason I had 32, 33 in my head. Okay.
And 28 and 32.
So total of 32, roughly, it's all?
There's 5 in the subdivision.
5.
Oh, well, that's true. The subdivision creates 4 more lots, so yes,
So
28.
there was already one there.
32.
Wait, 4 more. So I'd entertain a motion that would authorize payment of $128,761.68.
We need to change orders first, Mr. President. If you don't
I have to approve the change order?
Yeah, the change orders are part of that requisition.
They're part of that
Yes.
number, right?
They get us to that final number.
So is there a motion to approve change order number 3?
$35,248.63, please.
Yes, so moved.
Second.
Any other discussion? Roll call vote.
Mrs. Bottomoli?
Yes.
Mrs. O'Hara?
Yes.
Mr. Ogier?
Yes.
Mr. Zelinski?
Yes.
Mr. Gadget?
Yes. And then,
Second change order is change order number 4, in the amount of $111,355.27. This is the change order that reconciles the unit quantities that were actually experienced in the project, with the most substantial impact coming from the rock that was incurred comment that was not included in the original estimate by the engineer.
Is there a motion to approve change order number 4 in the amount of $111,355.27? I'll make that motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Mrs. Bonneville and Mrs. O'Hara. Under discussion. If you've never done a big project like this, it's an unknown condition. Had you known that condition was there, it would have been in the base price more than likely. They would have factored that into their bid that they would bid. So you would really pay for it one way or the other. There's no way of getting around paying for that rock removal. As long as it's been verified by our engineers, the numbers, the quantities are correct, it's really hard to
Like building a house.
no, it's not like building a house. They do testing and you think that you found everything, but you don't. And had they found that earlier, the contractor would have known I had so many yards of rock to get out, and he would have priced it appropriately into his bid. You have an agreement with him for unit pricing. Any rock that's not included, that you pay a unit price. It's all been verified.
Can I pose the question for refreshing of my memory? Test holes were drilled out there to figure out where all the rock was, is that correct?
Yes.
How many?
Well,
how many?
not where all the rock was. The test
Well,
was really.
to get an idea where the rock was.
Yes.
How many test holes did we drill?
Do you recall, Russ, how many test holes were drilled?
Probes.
Probes?
I think like 12 test holes, 12 probes. And then we did some additional ledge